Hello my friends and welcome back to Y's World Art. I'm Y, and in today's video we're going to discuss 3 tips to get you going with watercolors, and we are going to get into watercolor drawing myself. So let's go. Okay, so like I said, tips and doing watercolor drawing. So watercolor painting. So today I am using Canson 250 GSM watercolor illustration paper. It says it is good for, it is ideal for pencil, ink, watercolor and marker. I haven't used this specific brand before, so we're going to see how well this holds up. Okay, so let's get straight into the tips. So tip number one is to have clean water. I keep 2 pots of clean water by. One of them gets used for washing the existing paint off the brush, whatever I'm currently using, and then the other one gets used just before applying another paint. If you do use the same water whilst painting, you will find that the colour becomes muddy, loses its vibrancy, and doesn't look quite as nice as it would. So let's get into it. I am using just a basic, really well used set here, running out of several of the colours. That doesn't matter. This isn't a particularly expensive set. It cost me about £3 and it's lasted me quite a while now. So with watercolour tablets like these, you need to apply a little bit of water first, like so. Okay, so that carries us straight into tip 2, which is the wet on wet technique. So apply a small amount of water to the surface first when you're painting, then take your already saturated paint, whatever colour it may be that you're using, and apply it to your wet surface. Now, if you want to get an even spread with your watercolor, you just have to move it around while it's still wet. You're basically moving the color, so you can see the colors are gathering up here where the water's pooling. So if I pull that color around where I want it, and before that dries, just pulling that excess bleed of colour over. Now if you want to keep grading that wash, so you start off with strong pigment using it like that, then if I just add more water to it, if I pull some of that colour over, we have a nice soft bleed into a much lighter end of the spectrum. There are so many things that limit you when you're painting in other mediums that just won't limit you when you're playing with watercolours. Nothing you do can really be wrong as long as you're using water while doing it and having fun experimenting. You know, you can't really get watercolours wrong. Okay, so tip number 3 is preserve the paper. Alright, so you can see here the translucent effect that we're getting is less to do with the amount of colour we've got and more to do with how little colour we're using. So, you know, the paper is still showing through, which gives us the white contrast. It allows it to look clear and delicate in that way. So when you are painting, I often will like to will mix my paint, so I've got a really light version of the colour to start with. So if I get some blue here and I add lots of water to this, okay, I'm not quite sure why it's coming out pasty like that. Okay, so I'm really lightly spreading this across this area, and this time I didn't wet the surface of the paper first. It's not behaving very well at all, that. There we go. Some more pigment. But say I don't really like how much I've used there, and while the paint is still wet, I can take back most of that. Just dabbing it, gently dabbing. I could even do that because it's still activated some of the surface there. Okay. Now watercolours can be reactivated even once they're dried on the paper. And we can get this really delicate blend between the two colours by doing that. Okay, so now we're going to use our clean water, wet on wet technique, and we're going to be delicate and keep the white, you know, we're going to go in really lightly, and if we need to bring up any colours harder, we're just going to apply to it afterwards. We're going to do that now, nice and freely and relaxed, and see what we produce. I'm going to draw probably a sky whale from my comic. So just really lightly going to apply this. I am going to go into the old Speedy Gonzales mode now, and I'll catch you afterwards. Here we go. So that's it, guys. Using clean water, using the wet on wet technique, and preserving the white of the paper, as you can see in a lot of these. I can get that to focus. Okay, so there are plenty of areas there just above the red, in the yellow wash and the purple wash down lower here. In the blue, in the green, you can still see a lot of the white showing through. And that gives the vibrancy and the contrast in watercolours. Again, I'm not professional, and this is just playing around and having fun with it. And that's it, guys. Draw something, paint it randomly like this, and post it to me. I will put the link to my Twitter on in my details, and just have fun with it.